Right, so it's not always about super expensive phones here at Cool Smartphone. This is a much cheaper one. You can get this on Vodafone right now for £59 if you buy it with a £10 big bundle, and you can have extra bits on there as well. So that gives you unlimited text, 250 minutes and 150 reward points. It's not exactly the most top-end phone. And look, I'll show you something. That's the back. Look, remember in the old days when we used to be able to take the back off a phone? Well, this is exactly what you can do with this. You've got a micro SD card slot here. We've got the SIM card slot here, and there's a camera and a big battery. That battery, by the way, let me just get the details on that. Is a removable 2,500 milliamp hour battery. So we put the back on. You can see here the buttons are on the outside and they sort of poke through to the inner chassis. So put that on, click it into place, and you can see here's the external speaker, the good old-fashioned Nokia logo. So this is now no longer under the ownership of Microsoft, and instead it's been made in China. But here we go, you can see the phone lighting up and bursting into life. It's got an 8 megapixel rear camera. You can see on the back there's also a flash. It's running Android 9 Go edition, and you can see I've got a bit of a fingerprint magnet going on the front. The Go edition is more suited towards lower memory handsets. This has only got 1 gigabyte of RAM, so the apps on there, the Google apps on here, are special versions of the Google apps that are more suited to lower memory handsets. 1 gig of RAM and 8 gig of storage. Obviously you can put that micro SD card slot in, a micro SD card in as well. You got a 5 megapixel selfie camera. You can just about see through my finger smudges there. It's got a MediaTek quad core 1.5 gigahertz CPU, which is slow but not terribly slow. I mean, here's the BBC website. Let's browse to our website, Cool Smartphone. You can see here the keyboard responds quite well. It'd be better if I wasn't actually looking through. There you go, looking through this filter. There you go. Right, so it loads the site pretty quickly indeed. Everything reacts as you would expect. So it's not terrible, but again, it's not as fast as the expensive phones. But then again, £59, really not bad. That 5 megapixel front selfie camera. You've got GPS, you've got Bluetooth 4.2, you've got Wi-Fi. You've got a 3.5mm audio jack. Now I'll show you all the ports. I'll get around to that audio jack in a bit, but there's a micro USB charging point, old school. We've got the power button here and the volume down and volume up. There is a 3.5mm audio jack that I mentioned, and we've got nothing on the left panel whatsoever. It's available in black and red and blue. It's dirt cheap. It's available now. Really not a great deal else to tell you apart from showing you what's available on here. We've got calculator, calendar, camera. I'm going to put some example photographs on this review. We've got Google Photos, Maps, but it's Maps Go, Google Go. So these are all the Go editions that I mentioned that are more suited towards handsets with less memory. We've got an FM radio, which needs the headphones to work. We've got a file manager. Obviously your contacts and your calendar are going to synchronize in with your Google apps, so it's all synchronized in with the cloud. You've got a support function, which is quite cool. Wallpapers, which you can change the way the phone looks. You've got the settings option, which lets you change the ringtones, the display, and check the storage remaining. You can see here I've got 4.37 gigabytes free. I haven't really installed a great deal, and I've already used about half of my storage. So a micro SD card, if you get this phone, is essential in my mind, even if you're going to just put a few applications on here. You can see here in the settings I can add gestures as well. I can prevent ringing. What else can I do? I can do backups, and here you can see how long the battery should last. You can see what's using the battery. Apps using a normal amount of battery, you can turn the battery saver on or off, or turn it on automatically, which is quite cool. And that's about it, to be honest. For £59 you get the Nokia branding on there, which people still trust after all these years, because it's got such a good brand about it. The browsing works very quickly, the phone works reasonably well. As it say, it's not going to be as fast as those top-end phones, but for £59 as your first smartphone, or as a replacement for an old-fashioned feature phone, this is really rather good indeed.